After months of street protests that called for the prosecution of officers involved in Breonna Taylor's March death, Kentucky's Attorney General said Wednesday that a grand jury decided not to bring charges against any for killing Taylor and indicted just one former Louisville police officer for shooting into a neighboring apartment, sparking outrage among politicians, athletes and celebrities, as well as criticism from Taylor's family and protests by many who believe justice wasn't served. In the announcement, Cameron appeared to anticipate backlash, saying, "This was a tragedy. Sometimes the criminal law is not adequate to respond to a tragedy. I recognize that. I know many that are watching today recognize that as well." Louisville has prepared for a night of unrest following the decision, with both the city and the police department declaring a state of emergency. A curfew has also been imposed from 9 p.m. until 6:30 a.m., and many businesses and federal buildings have been boarded up. A key component of the decision was determining whether the officers knocked and announced themselves before entering the apartment. While Taylor's boyfriend insists that a no-knock search warrant was executed and he heard nothing, the grand jury determined that the officers did knock based upon the testimony of one civilian witness. New York Times journalist Rukmini Callimachi pressed Cameron on this after the announcement, saying that she, and others, had scoured the apartment complex where Taylor lives to find witnesses who heard the knock, and found just one of 12 people, an upstairs neighbor, heard anything. If indicted, Hankison faces up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine for each of the 3 Class D felony, wanton endangerment, charges, one for each person in the next-door apartment reached by Hankison's blindly fired bullets. Cameron said it is not likely additional state charges will be brought against the officers, though he emphasized that the FBI is still investigating for possible federal charges. One officer charged with wanton endangerment in Breonna Taylor case. Forbes, Louisville police declare state of emergency ahead of Breonna Taylor decision. Forbes, Breonna Taylor's life was changing. Then the police came to her door. The New York Times, Breonna Taylor's legacy, caring, super goofy, and a devoted paramedic, NBC.